Fine, go.
Hi, thank you for all coming this afternoon. I'm Alex Modeas. I'll be talking about the book Life of Pi by Jan Martel. Alright, so first of all, I'm going to talk about the theme and the purpose of this talk. The theme is it takes a lot of mental toughness to survive in deadly situations. And the purpose is to explain what the book is about and explain the importance of this very, very good book. And it has a lot of life lessons contained in this book. Now, I'd like to talk about the plot and the characters. I won't give you the full analysis of the plot right now. I'll just introduce the characters as of now. So we have Pi, who is the main character. He is the son of the family who owns the zoo in India, who has to flee and go on the ship. And then they get on a boat where they have to, because the ship sinks, they have to get on a boat which they have to survive. Along with Richard Parker, who's also on that boat. He is the tiger in the story, and then Orange Juicy is the orangutan, the zebra, and the hyena. So these are all the real main characters who thankfully survive the tragic event of the ship sinking and end up on this small boat in the middle of nowhere. And just some other main characters. This is the father of Pi in the story. He's the one who owns the zoo, along with the mother. Alright, so now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the plot and Pi's journey. So, what forces them onto this boat is the family owns a zoo in India, and the government doesn't give them the chance to be able to stay in India and forces them to leave. So they try and flee to Canada, and they go on a boat, or a ship actually, and they end up sinking. And not many survive, but Pi survives and those animals survive. Now, on the boat, the hyena kills the orangutan and the zebra, while Richard Parker, the tiger, kills the hyena. So it is Richard Parker, the tiger, and Pi on this boat, on this small boat, for 227 days. And as you can see, here's the picture. We have India all the way to Mexico, where on the 227th day, obviously, they find a beach, and Pi goes to a doctor. And what happens is he's explaining his story, and the doctors don't believe him. So he makes up a story about how Richard Parker is himself, and there are no animals in this story. So he is actually Richard Parker. His mother is the orangutan. A cook is the chef, or a cook is the hyena, and a chef is the zebra. So he's now replacing these animals with humans, and they don't believe that story. So then Pi says, believe whatever story you want. So they believe that animal story, but it is a very unique ending because near the end of the story they say that the ending is up to you, the reader, for whatever he thinks actually happened. So it could be those animals could be covering up the violence that occurs upon the boat, because it would be very disgusting if that actually happened with humans and not animals. All right, and so the setting affects the plot, because if they hadn't been in India, they wouldn't have had to escape to Canada. Also, the setting for the rest of the book, the middle of the ocean, affects the plot because it is so hard to survive. And again, the protagonist is Pi, and the genre is fiction. All right, so quotes. So these are all quotes that represent the theme. Life on a lifeboat isn't much of a life. It's like an end game in chess, a game with few pieces. The elements couldn't be more simple, nor the stakes higher. The zebra's attempts at self-preservation only whipped the hyena into a frenzy of snarling and biting. It made a gaping wound in the zebra's side. I believe I have made clear the menace of a hyena. It was certainly so clear in my mind that I gave up on Orange Juice's life before she even had a chance to defend it. I underestimated her. I underestimated her grit. How I had failed to notice for 2.5 days a 450-pound Bengal tiger in a lifeboat, 26 feet long, was a conundrum I would have to crack later when I had more energy. A shiver went through my body, between the life jackets partially, as if though some leaves. I had my first unambiguous, clear-headed glimpse of Richard Parker. So these are all interesting quotes that kind of go along with the theme of doing anything to survive, and about all the problems kind of he had with the animals fighting against one another, and with him trying to survive with these animals. All right, so some vocabulary. Sulked, to remain silent or hold oneself aloof in an offended mood. Corroded, to eat or wear away gradually as if by gnawing, especially by chemical action. Guttural, of or pertaining to the throat. Disconsolate, without consolation or solace, hopelessly unhappy. And esplanade, any open level space, especially one serving for public walks or drives. And again, the theme is it takes a lot of mental toughness to survive in deadly situations. I'd just like to restate the theme. And so about the theme. This theme impacts me personally because I think that most everyone, including myself, has had to go through tough times of mental strength. Most times it can show you can show mental strength through school, athletics, tough times, or challenging obstacles in life. Some people, including students, can take Pi's experiences and learn from them by showing the same mental toughness that he showed throughout the book. Evidence. I slept all morning. I was roused by anxiety. The tide of food, water, and that rest flowed through my weakened system, bringing me a new lease on life. Also brought me the strength to see how desperate my situation was. I was awoke to the reality of Richard Parker. There was a tiger in my lifeboat. I could hardly believe it, yet I knew I had to, and I had to save myself. So this is a great example of mental toughness. I'm gonna say a word about fate. It is life's own, or fear, sorry. It is life's only true opponent. Only fear can defeat life. It is clever, treacherous adversary. How well I know. It has no decency, respects no law or convention, shows no mercy. It goes for your weakest spot, which it finds unerring ease. It begins in your mind always. One moment you are feeling calm, self-possessed, happy, then fear, disguised in the garb of mild-mannered doubt, slips into your mind like a spy. And the last quote. For the first time I noticed, as I would notice repeatedly during my ordeal, between one throne of agony and the next, that my suffering was taking place in a grand setting. I saw my suffering for what it was, finite and insignificant, and I was still. My suffering did not fit anywhere, I realized, and I could accept this. It was all right. I mumbled words of Muslim prayer and went back to sleep. So I like all these quotes because they definitely show all the things going on in his mind when he is suffering so horribly. And my evaluation. So I think this was a great book. The writing was phenomenal. The author really used great words. He really got inside the head of Pi and really just couldn't have written any better. The plot was unbelievable. If you think about this, 227 days on a boat, not really that much food available, and he's able to survive and communicate with this tiger for so long, and it's absolutely unbelievable. And I could really feel the emotions of Pi, and it had a very unique ending. Again, it's really an ending where the reader gets to pick what exactly happened. There is no real ending to the book, so I really think it's a great book. And I would just like to go through quick 3 quotes here. It's just about how good the writing is. Really, I've never forgotten him. Dare I say I miss him? I do. I miss him. I still see him in my dreams. There are nightmares mostly, but nightmares tinged with love, such as the strangeness of the human heart. I still cannot understand how he could abandon me so unceremoniously, without any sort of goodbye, without looking back even once. The pain is like an axe that chops my heart. So this is a really, really emotional quote by Pi because it's when they land on the island and Richard Parker, the tiger, just walks away. Life is so beautiful that death has fallen in love with it, a jealous, possessive love that grabs at what it can. But life leaps over oblivion lightly, losing only a thing or two of no importance, and gloom is but the passing shadow of a cloud, and to choose doubt as a philosophy of life is akin to choosing immobility as a means of transportation. So I think these are really good examples of really good quotes from the book that the author wrote. Comparison They're very similar and different to Night and A Long Way Gone. All main characters show will to survive. All main characters are separated from family, and all families of protagonists are affected because of country. And then differences to Night and A Long Way Gone. Night involves discrimination because of religion. A Long Way Gone involves protagonist participation in war, and Life of Pi has a lot of more animal characters. Here's a professional criticism. It's pretty much about how this person, this critic, I believe his last name is Derry, he thinks that it was too much religion in it and very unrealistic. Recommendation, I recommend this book to all people, but people must be mature enough to read it because it is very violent again, and also with the second ending thing, the possibility of the humans attacking one another and killing one another, and even cannibalism you have to be very mature to understand those things. And here's my contact information if you guys want to contact me in any way. And then thank you. Thank you to the Eden Prairie High School and Mrs. Becker for letting me use your classroom. My next book I'll be reading will be Zorro by Isabel Allen. I want to give a special thanks to Jacob Allen, Richard Prill, Robbie Norton, and thank you so much for coming and listening. Have a great rest of your day.
And do